Hello, hello. Welcome back to Wedding Wednesday. My name is Adriana, and today's episode, I am sharing what would add do ring edition. I'm also going to be sharing with you wedding band ideas for you and for him. And of course, we're going to be reading some very juicy stories as well, like always. Before we dive in, please rate, review, subscribe to the podcast if you've been a listener so far up until this point, because it really does help our podcast grow, and we appreciate any support that we do get. Welcome to Wedding Wednesday, the podcast that's about to spill all the tea on what it's like to plan a wedding from the bride's perspective and all the details no one talks about. I'm creating the podcast I need to keep me sane and feeling less alone as I plan my own wedding. We're diving deep into the hilarious, messy, and sometimes crazy world of wedding planning and wedding horror stories. Get ready to laugh, cry, and maybe feel a little less alone in this wedding planning madness. All right, so I wanted to share with you today a little bit about my ring research process before we dive into the bands. So let me tell you, when I went engagement ring shopping, first of all, my fiance did not want to come with me, who's my boyfriend at the time. He didn't want to come with me because he wanted me to be totally surprised. So one of my best friends, she took it upon herself to say, okay, I'm going to find some stores. We're going to go around and we're going to go try on some ring options for you. So I went ahead and we did that. We booked a whole day. We went to the Diamond District here where I live, and we went from store to store looking at all of their selection and trying on different rings. That really dictated what was going to be the best for me in terms of engagement rings. Originally, I walked into that whole day thinking I was dead set on an oval style diamond. I knew I wanted a solitaire. I knew I wanted a gold band, but I thought for sure the oval was going to be my ring. Upon trying oval, I tried all the cuts. I tried radiant, I tried oval, I tried round. And then one of the stores, they pulled out what they called an elongated cushion. Now, I had never loved the cushion cut diamonds because they're more square with rounded edges. They're beautiful. They just never felt like the right fit for me until this guy pulled out the elongated cushion. So an elongated cushion is almost like a baby. It's almost like if a radiant, like a rectangle, and an oval had a baby, because it's a rectangle with rounded edges, essentially is what it is. He put this on my finger and I completely fell in love with it. I thought it was so much nicer on me than an oval, because I love an oval, but for some reason, just because you have something in mind doesn't mean it's going to flatter your hand the way that you would envision it to until you try it on. So that whole experience really taught me that trying on rings is super important to dictating what you actually want. So I went home, gave my fiance all the details of like what I liked, and then off he went. And then a whole year later, we got engaged. But to bring it back to the wedding bands, the reason why I loved that experience so much was because I really ensured that I was going to love 100% the ring that I got. So I'm planning on taking the exact same approach with wedding bands, going and trying them on. This brought me to Angara. So they do a website. They have a website where they do beautiful handcrafted custom pieces, including wedding bands for him and her. So I wanted to take a second to thank Angara for sponsoring today's episode, because really they have some stunning pieces that I'm going to be sharing with you here. So the first band that I'm personally eyeing myself is a pavé diamond eternity band. It is so simple and classic, but it stands the test of time. I mean, if I look at my grandmother, both my grandmothers and my mom, they both have a pavé style eternity band that they've had for decades. So this is perfect. It's a perfect it's a perfect wedding band for anybody who likes things that are classic and timeless and that are really going to stand the test of time. It becomes a piece that you can pass along to future generations too. It's something that you can choose to have a half band or a full band of diamonds on, and you can customize as you want. What's great about Angara is that they do amazing made to order pieces, and they're often 30% less expensive than pretty much every other retailer on there, that they get you the best price for your diamond rings that are out there. So this is a pavé diamond eternity band where the diamonds are on the first half, the part that's visible. It's way more practical actually to have your diamonds on the part that's like going to be right next to your engagement ring, because the ones that are on the bottom, first of all, you really don't see them. Second of all, they can like hit when you move around your hand, you can kind of like hit the diamonds, which would not be ideal. So then the other half is either a gold band or a white gold band or a silver band. You can customize it as you wish, and it's perfect to pair with 90% of diamond rings. I think that I'm going to be considering this style the most, because A, I'm very timeless. I like timeless things, but B, it complements my engagement ring really, really well. So that's one band that you could be considering for the timeless bride. The next band that you can consider is a 4-stone bezel set diamond band. This band lays perfectly flat against your finger and really pairs beautifully right next to your engagement ring. So if your engagement ring is a little bit more subtle, this is a perfect like pop piece, show piece that can complement your engagement ring. It's literally one of those pieces that that are a standalone piece or that pair beautifully with rings, and that will stand the test of time, but with a modern twist. So that's what's key here, is that it's got a really nice modern twist and offers something a little bit different while still staying like timeless at the same time. Perfect for the bride who doesn't want the traditional half eternity pavé band, but still wants something that will stand the test of time and be classic forever. The next wedding band that I was looking at on their website that I thought was stunning is still super classic, but with a modern twist as well, and would be a showpiece all at the same time, literally all wrapped in one. It's perfect for stacking and is really great to pair with your engagement ring without overwhelming it. That is the prong set diamond eternity band. It's got like what I call these diamond bubbles almost that are beautiful and elegant, and they're just stunning piece. They're again perfect for the bride who doesn't want the classic half eternity pavé, but wants something timeless that will stand the test of time and that will still add a pop to their ring stack. This is also super easily stackable with other rings. I know a lot of brides like to wear not only their engagement ring with their wedding band, but they also like add rings to their finger over the years, whether it be every anniversary or with a push present if you want to have kids or whatever the case may be. They like to do a nice stack, and this is the sort of ring that you can easily stack. So love this one. If you're interested in any of these, again, they'll be all linked in the description box below. I also have a special discount code for 12% off only for podcast listeners. The code is Wedding Wednesday. All the details will be in the description box for you to review. And yeah, if you like any of these bands so far, feel free to snatch one of those before the discount code runs out because they really are a great price. Let's dive into a few of the wedding bands for him that I was looking at. Of course, Antoine is going to be wearing his wedding band. I will not let him not wear his wedding band. So we're looking really closely at wedding bands for him. I have a better idea of what I want. Like I said, I really like the pavé for me, but for him, he's a bit lost in terms of what he likes. He was looking at two-tone style rings. He tried one on, didn't look great on him. And then we pulled up these ones from Angara that he's also really interested in. So let's dive into each one. So the first one is a beveled edge band. I love this band. I thought it was gorgeous when I saw it. I think it would complement a nice olive skin tone beautifully. It's super timeless and classic, but because of those beveled edges, adds a modern twist to it. And I think it's perfect for the groom or, the husband who doesn't want to feel like they're wearing a band, but still wants to have that piece, that showpiece to show that they're married, obviously. Gorgeous, particularly because it is still masculine and refined all at the same time. The next one is a mixed metal band. So a bit like that two-tone style that I was talking about. We really both love this style a lot. On Antoine, it seems like it doesn't complement his skin tone as much as we wanted it to. But if we're still looking, so this could be actually one that he tries on and see whether or not, it's a good fit for him. But the nice complement between the silver and the gold is perfect for the groom or the husband who wants to wear jewelry that's mixed metals, because it'll go with everything. If you have a silver watch and a gold necklace, your band will work forever, and with all pieces. So really good for the more stylish groom who wants like something to be a little bit more adaptable to all of his jewelry pieces, but that still is super timeless and will stand the test of time. The next band is a classic timeless polished band. It has this little detailing on the band that is really nice when you look at it more closely. It's a thinner band, so it's a sort of band that, again, you won't feel too much, especially if your groom is not used to wearing jewelry at all and he wants something that doesn't feel like he's wearing it at all on his hand. This could be the right band for him. But then when you get to look at it, it has a visually interesting detail to it that makes it more unique than just a simple gold band. Really good fit for the groom looking for something just like easy but still stylish at the same time. What's great is that it's not sharp at all. It has no rough edges. It's super smooth, so you really won't be feeling the band sitting on your finger. This next band is called the white gold grooved band. What I loved about this one is that although it's uniform in its white goldness, it's one color, it's still got some texture, so it's really visually interesting to the eye when you look at it. This is great for the groom who likes maybe more of a rugged look, or who doesn't wear other pieces of jewelry but wants one standout piece to be worn time and time again. I think it will stand the test of time too. It's super timeless piece and could be perfect for somebody who wants that showpiece but doesn't want to be wearing other pieces of jewelry as well. The best part about all of these wedding bands is that Angara will actually engrave them for you to make them more custom to you. So if you were thinking of putting each other's initials on each other's bands, or you were thinking of writing a cute little phrase in each other's bands, you totally could. Angara does that. And it's totally complimentary, free of charge, if you buy any of their bands. To me, a wedding band is more than just a piece of jewelry. Obviously, I think it goes for a lot of people that way. It's a testament to your love. It's a physical symbol and representation of your love and your marriage and your commitment to somebody every single day. And I think it's something that needs to be carefully thought out and purchased, because it's something that's going to last forever. Ideally, knock on wood, but it needs to be something that you consider carefully. A lot of couples think, oh, we don't need to put much thought into the wedding band. But if you think about it carefully, it doesn't have to be a piece that you spend thousands and thousands of dollars on, but it is a piece that represents your love. So having things that customizing through engraving, doing things like carefully selecting the type of band you're choosing, doing this as a collaborative thing together as a couple too, all contribute to how this new piece of jewelry will both be a representation of your love together. So I do have really strong opinions about wedding bands, clearly. Would love to hear some of your strong opinions on wedding bands if you have any too, or just in general, your research process on how you found your dream wedding band. Would love to hear more about it. A couple more details to consider here if you're going to be shopping with Angara is that they offer 60-day free return. So that means that you can test these bands at home, and if you don't like them, there's no problem. You can return them easily. They also have free shipping. They have free engraving. They really allow you to customize your band. They have a lifetime warranty. Their gold is all 100% recycled gold and more. They have so many amazing criteria and features that make what Angara is today. The best part about this entire process is that they actually also offer free consultations for you. So if you're just initially wondering what kind of band will work for you, what kind of price range will work for you, you can book a free consultation with them and they'll totally guide you through that journey. Again, you can use code Wedding Wednesday for 12% off if you like any of the pieces for a limited time. Thank you again to Angara for sponsoring today's video. Okay, what would ad do? Wedding band edition. Let's read a few of these scenarios that were submitted about the wedding bands, and I will give you my take on what I think you should do. Here we go. The mismatched metal wars. The bride loves yellow gold. The groom insists on platinum because it's, quote, timeless and doesn't scratch. They agree to get their own medals until his mom says mismatched bands will, quote, look like they're not united. Now there's family drama brewing over something they'll both wear forever. What would ad do? All due respect to the mom, it's none of her concern which wedding band her son and her daughter-in-law choose. So what would I do is disregard the comment made by the mom. Choose bands together as a couple, as a unit that work for both of you, that you both agree on, that will be that symbol that you represent your love in an external way. That's what I would do here. Next one, the disappearing wedding band. A groom loses his wedding band 3 weeks after the wedding while on a guy's fishing trip. His friends suggest just buying the same model and never telling his wife. One friend says that's lying and she needs to know. The groom says, why cause stress for no reason? What would Ad do? Replace it quietly, confess, or come up with a creative cover story? Confess, 100% confess. Also, depends on your wife. Like, if it were me that this happened to, I'd be upset for sure, but I would want to know. It would be better than having to find out later that he replaced his band without telling me. I would want to know, but at the end of the day, it is just materials. And like, as much as it really would be devastating for a little bit, I think we could both get over it. And we could also turn this into an opportunity to go through this process again, find a new band together for him that he really values and that still represents our love together. Even though it's not the original one, this sort of thing happens all the time. Like, people lose their rings all the time. It's really unfortunate, but it does happen. So to an extent, if your bride to be will be, or your bride at this point will have a certain level of understanding, then I think it's worth telling her. If she's gonna freak out and yell at you, it makes it harder. But I do think that you should still tell her, but then also come up with that solution of like, flip it into like, tell her like, honey, I'm so sorry I lost my band, but look, let's look at this as a new opportunity to go through this process all over again together and make it a whole moment together. Maybe you can make a date night out of it, flip it so that when you tell her the bad news, you already have a solution. It's gonna soften the blow. She'll be more willing to like work with you here and not be as upset as you might think. So I think lying is not key. I think you should tell your spouse, but just make sure you tell your spouse with like that ready to, like, that solution at the same time. Okay, the heirloom controversy. A groom is gifted his late father's wedding band by his mother. It's incredibly sentimental, but it's 2 sizes too big and not his style at all. His mom insists he must wear it or it's disrespectful. What would Ad do? Ad would suggest, okay, so first of all, if the groom wanted to wear the band, Ad would say by all means wear the band, but maybe just get it engraved with something that represents us as a couple. If the groom in this case does not want to wear the band, I would say ask your mom if you can remake it into another piece that you can wear that's not your wedding band. Maybe a necklace, maybe a bracelet. Maybe you can tie it every day to a necklace and wear it like under your shirt. There are other solutions here that you can do other than wearing it as a wedding band, especially if you don't want to wear it as a wedding band. So that's what I would suggest. First, talking to the mom about offering other options outside of wearing it as a wedding band. The upgrade surprise. On their 10-year anniversary, a husband secretly upgrades his wife's simple gold wedding band to a diamond eternity band, trading in the original without telling her. She's devastated because the first one had sentimental value. What would Ad do? Ouch. He secretly upgrades his wife's simple gold to a diamond eternity band, trading in the original without telling her. Ooh. What would Ad do? Ad can't do much here. If this was me, where I'm being gifted a new ring, but like I lost my old ring, I would have to mourn the loss of that old ring. I would be speaking to my husband as well. I'd be telling him, please never do that again. And then I would have no choice but to move forward and move on. Or I would ask my husband to go back and add to the jewelry store to see if he can buy it back. See what that costs. Trade it back. I don't know. Do some sort of thing there if I really wanted it back. Or like I said, I would, it would be a big discussion I would be having with my husband about why he did that without telling me, and to tell him like, to never do that again, basically. That's the only thing you really can do. I have a few juicy wedding band Reddit stories to read you too, so I wanted to read you this first one. It goes, finally picked up my wedding band. And guys, I have to put up the picture of this because it's quite something. We finally were able to pick up my custom wedding band yesterday, and at first I was worried I didn't love it with my stack. I'm not much of a ring wearer, so it was important that it was sentimental. I am first generation American on my dad's side, who are Cuban refugees. The story goes, my grandparents were both teachers in Havana when Castro's troops made it to the city and started blasting and firing guns in the area. My grandfather ran across the street, it was a men's college and a women's college, and laid his body over my grandmother for hours to protect her. In those moments, we said, we're going to America. Cubans were only allowed to take with them items they could carry on their person or a small suitcase. My grandmother was able to leave the country with a strand of pearls, which she gave me many, many years ago. I knew I wanted to incorporate that into my ring somehow, but didn't want a center pearl. So we reached out to a jeweler about the possibility of harvesting some pearls from the necklace and crushing them up to make a pearl powder and using it as an inlay on a band. In doing so, I realized I could incorporate pearls from all of the important women in my life. My ring has pearls from my grandmother on my dad's side, my grandmother on my mom's side, my mom, and my fiance's mom. Hopefully will one day be an heirloom piece. Because of the side inlay, it is much thicker than a typical ring, and at first it was a bit jarring. For about an hour or two, I was worried that I hated my ring and that I'd never wear it. It felt almost comically thick and ridiculous on my finger, almost like a lung nut. It still kind of feels like a lung nut, but I'm not as startled by how large it is, and I'm as excited and in love with it as I'd originally hoped to be. The juicy part of this are all the comments. Somebody asked, genuine question, not trying to insult, why did you choose the width that it is? I understand the thickness, just curious about the width. Just a personal choice, or was it necessary for the design? Somebody else said, a very special piece that's very thoughtful of you to incorporate elements from so many special people. However, I do think that it would be better as a necklace. Aside from the reasons the others mentioned, I'll add another one, namely washing. It's harmful for pearls, not for the other rings. So are lotions, disinfectants, and a lot of things that people normally use on a regular basis. A necklace doesn't come into contact with water, soap, or other agents as often as the hands do because the neck area doesn't, and it can more easily be removed before showering, for example, to avoid further damage. So many of the comments are deleted because they were probably very negative. Someone said, I actually really like it, but the width seems a bit much. I would take a third of that width and use that for the pendant. I low-key love the thick gold band with the daintiness myself. It reminded me of a stack I saw that incorporated a Cartier love ring. This reminded me of half that, but Aura ring. Yeah, it does look like a thick Aura ring. I am more of a fan than others in the comments though. Take your time and think about how you feel about it as well as how it wears day to day. So many people say they love it, but also a lot of people, I'm assuming all of the comments that are deleted were negative comments. Somebody said, do you like the Aura ring as a wedding band? She could also wear it on the other hand if she's really, really loves it. But yeah, would love to hear your thoughts about this ring in the comments. Is a plain wedding band considered traditional? And if so, why do we never see them anymore? That's a good question. I've been engaged in wedding planning for just under a year now and have been searching for my wedding band. I discussed the idea of a I discussed the idea of a Chanel set diamond eternity band with my mother, whose band is the same design. She was shocked that I would want/expect a wedding band with a diamond as traditionally the band is plain metal. She then explained that she had a plain gold band when she got married in the early 90s and received her diamond band on my parents' 10th wedding anniversary. Her reaction caught me off guard as I haven't seen anyone online or that I know in real life to get married with a plain band. All I seem to see is some variation of half eternity bands encrusted with many diamonds. Is the plain band considered traditional when a bride gets married? Does anyone know the meaning behind this tradition and why we never see it anymore? I'll tell you why we don't see it anymore. It's because girls love a bling. And if you can get a half diamond eternity or a full eternity diamond band, it's more sparkly, more fun to wear than something simple, plain. Not to discredit plain. Plain can be super beautiful and elegant too. But I think that's why we don't see it as much, is because girls like their diamonds, girls like their bling, and so they would prefer to have, half eternity diamond band. Let's read the comments. Somebody said, it's fine to have whatever kind of band you want, but yes, it would be considered more traditional to have a plain metal band, sort of like how it's traditional to have a pure stark white dress and a white tiered cake. Also, some cultures, religions, traditions emphasize a plain, unadored band. For example, in Judaism, the tradition indicates that a plain band is representative of the unbroken bond in marriage. As for, quote, not seeing them anymore, what? That's very dependent on your specific social circle. I have a plain band, as does my husband, as do many of our friends, and we are far from traditional. Something to think about. Somebody else said, I literally thought this post was about music, and I was like, wait, metal is the traditional band? I'm just waking up. That's so funny. Someone else said, my fiance and I are getting plain wedding bands. I like the idea of being able to wear it on its own if I don't want to have a flashy diamond on my hand for whatever reason. Plus, I love the idea that they match. I definitely got weird looks when I went to try on rings in store and said I just wanted something basic. Maybe because I have a pavé engagement ring and it doesn't match, but I absolutely adore it personally. I guess it goes to show it depends on your circle. Like some people will choose more plain, some people will choose more diamonds. It just depends. It also, I think, really depends on what's going to match with your engagement ring. Like not every style of band is going to match your engagement ring. And for somebody who has like a really flashy engagement ring might want a super simple band to balance out the stack. So something to think about. Somebody asked, help, am I being unreasonable? Wedding band is not as advertised. Hi Reddit, I'm having some issues with the band I ordered. The band they gave me looks similar to the website, but I would say for a $2,000 ring, it's pretty far off from the pictures of their website. Most of the time, I would let something like this go and just enjoy it, but for whatever it is, but this is my wedding ring that I will be wearing forever, and I am extremely disappointed it isn't what they led me to believe based on the photos. I've gone back and forth with customer service about this, but they are not going to accept a return. What can I do? Should I keep pushing customer service for a return? Should I try and escalate somehow? Should I ask a local jeweler to try and implement some changes to make it look like how I originally wanted, such as rounding out the squareness of the band and adding an additional line through the X's to make it look like an asterisk? Thank you in advance for your help. I know the ring is beautiful, but it's not what I would have picked had I seen the version I was going to receive. I think because you didn't get exactly what you're looking for, I definitely would keep pushing personally customer service for a refund if you can. And if they really are adamant on not giving you a refund, then I think the next option, which is what this girl mentioned, was go to another jeweler and get it fixed to the level that you want it. This is so unfortunate that this happens, which is why it's really key to, I guess, try on things before you commit to them, or to at least check the return policies of some of these stores, because you don't want to be stuck with a piece that you don't like, especially if it's a piece that you have forever. So something I keep in mind. The last question for today is, does anyone else not wear a wedding band? By the way, I've seen tons of people just wearing their engagement ring and not their wedding band. But anyways, let's read. I'm absolutely obsessed with my engagement ring. It's 100% my dream ring, but we officially got married a week ago and I haven't found a band that pairs well with it. So I just decided that I probably won't wear one. My engagement ring is pretty non-traditional and our wedding was non-traditional. Overall, I enjoy going against the norm, but it bothers me slightly that it may appear to others that I'm not married because of not wearing a band. I'm the queen of overthinking, so I may just be in my head about this, but I'd be interested to hear your thoughts and if anyone else has chosen to do this. This engagement ring looks like a wedding band. It looks like a really big wedding band. So actually, I think that she can get away with this as her wedding band and her engagement ring. So maybe no need necessarily to get another one. Plus, if you can't find a wedding band that matches your engagement ring, you shouldn't force yourself to buy something just to represent it, you know? An engagement ring can become a wedding band, no problem in this case. There are no rules, really. Ultimately, you kind of make your own rules as much as society gives us rules. But let's see what other people have to say. Someone said, I love your engagement ring. If anything, it looks more like a wedding band. Case in point. If I saw it, I'd assume you were married and that you were wearing your wedding band. I'd understand why because of the curve. It's very original and looks great. Totally agree with this. Someone else said, this is such a standout piece. No companion band needed. Yeah, I agree. Someone else said, I love my engagement ring, but most likely I won't find a matching wedding band, so I decided to wear my engagement ring on one hand and the wedding band on the other. Here in Norway, the wedding band is worn on the right finger, and it's more common to wear the engagement ring on the left finger. By the way, your engagement ring is stunning. That's cool. I like this idea. My mom actually does this. She has her engagement ring on one hand and her wedding band on the other. And there are no rules ultimately. Like, you wear what you want. Either way, you look like you're married because you're wearing a ring, and it's really up to you. If you have any crazy wedding related stories to share with us, feel free to email it at hello@weddingwednesdaypod.com. Of course, please rate, review, subscribe, do all the things because it really does help our podcast grow. One more big thank you to Angara for sponsoring today's video. And with that, I will see you in the next episode. Bye for now.